What is going on? It's Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we're going to be doing our Jacksonville Jaguars 7-round of mock draft. If you are new, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You guys know how to use YouTube. The show's growing great. Below my face is my board. It's fully transparent, but it is not predictive. It is exactly what reflects my all-22 grades, which I post clips on my X, which you can find through the link tree. If you do want to support the show, feel free to go and use that link tree as well, or just put code HAILMARY when you sign up for UnderDog Fantasy. They send me $60, especially when you do your first play. You get up to $1,000 in bonus cash as well. So feel free to do that. Enjoy, but legally and responsibly. Let's get into this. Let's have a great time. I'm doing this in draft order. So if your team already was in the draft order, you were just coming and hanging out with the video, feel free to go check it out. But we're going to be dropping 1 to 2 of these a day. I wanted to change up the quantity or the quality. The content of video, because we've been doing so many just like review mock drafts, do an actual full mock draft, haven't been able to really do many team focused things, and I really like doing that because we're going to be continually referencing our lads here as well, which is the best quick way to be able to like identify, hey, this is what the roster's like, this is what the depth chart's like, this is who's up for contracts. So I hope you guys do enjoy this style of format as well. We're going to be doing this post free agency, of course, and if you do have a content creator, let me know and we can try to get them on. So let's get into this. Let's see how this goes. This is a live mock draft. Let's see what the hell happened. Oh my God. Abdul Carter slips here. I'm going to be honest, guys. We can't let that happen. I don't really restart mock drafts too often, but we can't let Abdul Carter slip to this point. I mean, it technically is possible that Travis Hunter gets here. So we're going to start out with that. Like if Abdul was here, like I couldn't do that. Okay. Like it's just not possible in my opinion, but regardless, even if he did, right. And you had Mason Graham, like I'll just say based on what did happen, if that were the case and Abdul was sitting here, you should trade. There's going to be no trades in this, but I was just saying probably get the hell out of there, but Mason Graham would probably be the pick I'd have. But regardless, now we have Travis Hunter, which it is possible. People say he's not the best receiver. He's not the best corner. There's a good chance that teams will view him primarily as a corner, which he'd potentially be below Will Johnson. But regardless of all of that, we have both of them here. And the beauty of these mock drafts is that if you don't like one of the players I took and there was another one on the board, think of that one and feel free to comment it as well. But it doesn't change how the rest of the mock draft would go because most likely another corner needy team would select Will Johnson or Travis Hunter instead. So that's the beauty of all of this. And Travis Hunter will probably be the selection just because I think it's very realistic. But Will Johnson has my heart. He is my #1 player in the class. Even with the injury, even with the potential speed concerns, I think that it is all swell. Like Will Johnson's just my type of guy. Bottom line, I love him to death. Travis Hunter is the more likely pick. It's one of the corners, okay? We're going to go Travis Hunter because let's have a little bit of fun. I always draft something to you guys, but I do think my #1 pick for you guys would be Tetro McMillan. I think that would work extremely well in a Liam Cohen offense. So keep that in mind as well. I think that especially with round 2, knowing that these guys would be here, I would probably try to opt that way, but you just can't ignore Travis Hunter. So I think that's going to be super key for your guys' success is to take the best player available because luckily the positions you need, there's value that's incredible there at the top. So I love that. Center and guard absolutely are needs. Finally, I think that PFF has some of these a bit right. I also do believe a wide receiver too, like Elic Iomaner, could be a very big asset to you guys. So let's address the situation, right? I think quarterback, you're doing fine. Like, let's actually just look at your roster rather than me just being a buffoon. Like, quarterback, obviously you're chilling. Maybe you could take somebody later. You should probably just re-sign somebody. Running back, I love the fact that, right now, the expectation is so low. I personally would try to pick up ETN in fantasy super duper late because no one's going to believe in the guy. But when you end up looking at Liam Cohen's transformation of the offense, especially in the run game for Tampa Bay, it was absurd, right? And yes, you got Bucky Irving. That's going to be a big difference. But Travis Etienne is the closest to Bucky Irving out of the running backs that, in my opinion, that you have. So I think that he could actually take a pretty big step up. So you get some free fantasy content in there as well. That's why I'm going to say running back's not the biggest position for me to address. Tight end, I mean, personally, just rock with what you have. Offensive tackle-wise, I think you're chilling. Getting a guy who could end up playing a flex role and tackle and guard would not be bad. Love Javon Foster's pick, by the way. I do love that for a safety valve, but, you absolutely could be used in center or guard for the future. And so wide receiver wise, I do think an upgrade over Gabe Davis would be not a bad thing. It never hurts to have more firepower, but it's not a necessity. But having a Tetairoa McMillan style receiver would be great. On the defensive line portion, I do think defensive interior is pretty solid, right? You got Eric Armstead in the mix, but Mason Smith, I do think you could absolutely upgrade and get a true DI1 while Mason Smith develops into the player that he should be. Like, that's why if you do take Mason Graham in the first, by all means. But I will say, maybe getting somebody later on, if you're not going to get someone instantly starting, would be the best return on your investment. Linebacker wise, I feel pretty happy with what you guys got going on here. Just going to be completely real. Feel free to disagree, but that corner position, we might address it twice, but safety as well, we're going to need to address. And, we'll look into it as the time progresses. So number 36 though, I think personally wide receiver, getting somebody like Eli Kyle-Maynard here would be incredible. Jaden Higgins. Like, I want Liam Cohen to have somebody that he is comfortable with, right? Tight end wise, you're good. Corner, we've addressed it. So, you need to get offense in the second round. And you could go guard. Honestly, wouldn't be a bad idea. And to be fair, with Tyler Booker here, it doesn't necessarily fit the same identity that I would think of when you're... Let's see, do they have Gray Zabel still available? No. If they did, that'd be like... Let's run that to the podium. But I'm thinking of Graham Barton here, right? Thinking that he might fit Liam Cohen's system. But you know what fits Liam Cohen's system? A damn good player. How about that? Let's not overanalyze shit. And I haven't taken Tyler Booker in the second round in a mock. So I'm actually really happy to do this. Let's address that guard position with extremely good value. It's something I don't do too often, but you got Hunter at corner, Booker at guard. And at 70, because we got 70 and 88, which, yes, I could play the board and get Azareye'h Thomas, who, we all know is teammates with Jerry and Jones, would be super, adorable to get them back together, but I'm just not really in the mood to do that. I've already taken him before. I try my best to keep things a little bit fresh, a little bit interesting. But at number 70 overall, again, we've got Hunter and Booker already lined up. Wide receiver wise, you could talk about Trey Harris here. I'm not sold on Trey Harris to that degree. I would probably wait till 88. And honestly, that wouldn't be a bad pick, right? Trey Harris, outside of the injury concerns, is a very solid receiver. Statistically, he's done incredibly well. But it's I don't feel the need to push any more than what we need to. I do think that safety position, though, is. And I've taken Nick Ebenwari before, so I'm going to try to resist that. At the same time, PFF, you need to update your safety rankings. But honestly, I'm going to go with Nick Ebenwari here. I'm not waiting till pick 88 to snipe him just because I can probably do that. I'm going to do what's best and take him now. And again, I did this, I believe, did I do it for the Browns? Or I think I did it for the Giants. But regardless of that, for the Giants, it was an elective pick. More so let's go BPA. This one, I think we need a good free safety, a strong free safety. And the thing about 6'3", 230, you hear that and you're like, okay, that's a strong safety, right? But when you look at Nick Ebenwari's skill set, he has incredible range, unbelievable athleticism, and really good ball skills. If you say that outside of the context of Nick Ebenwari, you're going to think that's probably going to be a free safety, right? Someone who can roam and, use their IQ and ball skills to make the most of it. So I think this one's going to be a little bit closer to an actual best player available than what I did with the Giants the last time I drafted him. At number 88 for the Jacksonville Jaguars, of course it's for the Jacksonville Jaguars, dumbass. But at pick number 88 for us, let's see who's left on the board. And Makuba's still here. Yes, I could have played the hand, and then, of course, he would end up being here because he was right there with Makuba. But this is where I might start looking at that defensive interior spot and trying to develop another player like Deone Walker. You got J.J. Peggy's here, Josh Farmer. I actually want to see who's available at 105 for defensive interior for that reason. Again, wide receiver wise, we absolutely could be looking, if we did unfortunately have Trey Harris available, that would be the guy who I'd be looking at. Pat Bryant as well. Probably 124. I think getting him would be really good depth. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. 124, I'm pretty solid on that move. Again, the tight ends are extremely underrated compared to what it should be in terms of the draft, in my opinion, but, is what it is. I will say RJ Harvey is very close to Bucky Irving in terms of stylistically, the one cut, maybe not the best athlete, but can make you pretty much eat shit while they're standing right in front of you, right? Could absolutely see that being the case. On top of that, I could go Jonas Savania here to have him as a developmental guard / center that we could have behind Tyler Booker. Again, you could look at the cornerback position as well, right? You got some really good players here. I'm not going to push it too hard, but you guys are a good team with not a ton of issues. In my opinion, you are one of the biggest growth potential teams in the entire league. So take that compliment, because honestly, I don't like to give it out very often. I want to build up the offensive line even more and have someone who has experience at left and right tackle as well as the guard position and shows a lot of potential but needs a year of development. I'm going to go after Jonas Savania here at 88 and just rebuild the trenches. At number 105, so I talked about 124, I want to go after Pat Bryant. And I want to go after defensive interior here and see who's available. We got the luck of the draw. So, we really did. We have 6 dudes who I wouldn't be mad about getting. 7 guys who I wouldn't be mad about getting here. Jamari Caldwell might be someone I try to snipe at 193 just to see if we can get lucky, but it's CJ West. He agreed to come on the show, so we'll be probably trying to get him on somewhat soon. Really good dude. Got to interview him in Dallas at the Shrine Bowl, which is super fun. Shamar Turner, Aeneas Peebles, who I love to death. But you got Josh Farmer here, who's in state, has great leg drive. Got to meet his brothers as well. We were actually staying connected. Really, really cool family there, but really good dude. 35-inch arms as well. If you did still have Trent Baalke, this would be a big Trent Baalke guy. But I love spending a 4th round pick rather than spending a number 4 overall pick on defensive interior based on the skill sets that you guys have. And JJ Peggies is super fun as well, but I'm going to go after Josh Farmer here. And so quick little recap, guys, just so you guys are on board. We got our corner 1. We got some interior offensive line help with Jonas Savania, who's going to develop. Tyler Booker's going to help out immediately. Our free safety here, Nikki Minwari. And then we got Josh Farmer. So really heavy on the defensive side and offensive line. I think it's time to start looking at that weaponry piece. And Pat Bryant's perfect for this. I also think we might want to roll the dice on Juice Wells if we get lucky, but Pat Bryant's going to be perfect for this. I mean, this dude's just rock solid and reliable, contested catch kind of dude. And so you can kind of use him in a way that you don't usually get value-wise here in the 5th round. This is the 5th round. I'm tripping balls. We're in the 4th. But even in the 4th, you don't usually get too lucky with players who are very consistent and very reliable at the catch point like Pat Bryant was. He was dominating all year long. Nearly got 1,000 yards, but also 10 touchdowns. Great build overall. So I like him in the offense. At number 142. So, of course, we got lucky and ended up getting the guy that we wanted at 124. At 142, I could honestly look at some running back value here. Could look at Tyler Barron because I love being able to stay in the state of Florida if possible. We've addressed defensive interior, wide receiver, offensive line, safety, and corner. And again, let's bounce back here. And so again, I still think another corner could be on the list. Is Quincy Riley available? Son of a biscuit. They knew. Those bastards down in Tennessee knew. Oh, but Denzel Burks here, honestly, that's really good value. You guys know what I think of Jalen Smith. He's literally there sitting there at number 12 on my board, but you guys do not need someone who could be potentially a slot as well. He's going to be saved for another team. Dorian Strong's fantastic, but he doesn't have the athleticism. Neither does Denzel Burke, to be fair. But all 3 of these corners here, I think this is impeccable value. This is impeccable value. They're not going to be there at the next pick either. So you can't really go wrong. Denzel Burke, he is a former 1st round pick, essentially. And then you got Dorian Strong here, who just doesn't have the top speed either. But, he is a very, very solid cornerback. These guys are very good corners, and we're going to get some good value here. Mac McWilliams is a zone corner. I love him to death. He is my number 40 player in the entire class. Jabbar Muhammad slipped a little bit for me because I just don't think he has the range that I thought he did on tape. So I'm actually going to go after Dorian Strong here out of Virginia Tech. Again, feel free to fill it with Denzel Burke if you please. But Dorian Strong is someone who he had more of those plays where it got me feeling like, got me feeling nicey. No, but I was just like saying, man, that is an NFL level play. And I like being able to take guys that I feel confident like that. But at 181, I'm actually looking pretty heavily at Jordan James here because, I mean, I could end up trying to like big brain this and maybe go after Jamari Caldwell here. But I really do like the idea of taking another back from Oregon and pairing him up with Liam Cohn. And Jordan James is one of my favorite running backs in the class. He's a top 100 player on my big board. Like, I love him to death. And at 181, I think the value is awesome. So let's review again what picks we have done. So we got some defensive back help here with Travis Hunter as well as Dorian Strong. We got some good offensive firepower here with some late additions in Jordan James and Pat Bryant. Address the offensive line with developing a center in Jonah Savania as well as an instant guard in Tyler Booker. And then we got some defensive stability here with Josh Farmer. So here at 193, I think that one of the areas I was taking a quick peek that we could end up using some help is some deep speed. And I mean, you look at, of course, you know, the number one weapon, Brian Thomas, got that deep speed. But outside of that, I don't really have someone who I truly trust as a legit vertical threat. And I don't think all the verticality needs to be set on Brian Thomas. I think that limits him a lot. So I'm going to go after Dante Thornton Jr. here, who I adore. He ended up doing really well this year compared to years before, which is great. And I still loved him in 2023, even with 224 yards. He's a very solid route runner for his size. And again, 6 touchdowns this year. He's had games where he really did go off. And, you know, that shows the potential for me. At 193, I'd absolutely love him. Again, really great frame there at over 6'4". At number 222, we got of course, the Jaguars. No shit, Sherlock. But, you know, we've already taken some weaponry. And honestly, I think the final route would probably be to get someone like Logan Brown, who's, you know, very flexible as an interior as well as a tackle. We could, of course, go after the developmental piece in Holland Pierce. But Xavier Truss, honestly, is really awesome. Johnny Walker is as well. But Xavier Truss, we can kind of get that holy trinity of interior offensive linemen that also have that tackle versatility. Because technically speaking, Booker does have that. I think he ended up playing a game at tackle as well. But Xavier Truss is a fantastic athlete, 6'7" as well. And he's played a lot of the tackle position, a lot of it. But I honestly thought his best reps were on the interior of the offensive line. But regardless, he's a fantastic athlete who is a plus run blocker. And at 222, I think that value is going to be great to Liam Cohen. So let me know what other positions that you guys would have wanted to get drafted. Again, we're going to be doing another one of these when all is said and done with free agency. But final recap, we ended up addressing corner twice with Dorian Strong for good depth and Travis Hunter, but could be Will Johnson for a true number 2 corner. Then, of course, we ended up getting some offensive line help, Tyler Booker, Jonah Savania, as well as Xavier Truss to be able to develop a good interior of the offensive line with a lot of youth there. We also addressed the defensive line with Josh Farmer, and then we got some weaponry. We got Jordan James, deep threat Dante Thornton, and contested catch threat and Pat Bryant. Like, a lot of really good role players. So let me know what you think of that. Again, don't look at the grades and actually think that it matters. Like, PFF doesn't necessarily dictate what actually is great for these mock drafts, and it's okay. You know, even the board, the guy who owns the board in Trevor Sikkema is his board. He's even gotten some like C's and D's grades here and there. So it's just funny to be able to see that. But let me know what you think of the actual picks themselves. Thank you so much for watching. Love you. See you on the far side. Peace.